parents demanded I quit my job to care for my disabled sister, but the adult services came. My sister Iris has cerebral palsy and can't speak, but her eyes light up every time I walk through the door with her favorite strawberry milkshakes. She's 22 now, needs full-time care for everything. I've been her person since we were kids. When she's happy, she makes this humming noise that sounds like music. When she's frustrated, her left hand twitches twice. I know her better than anyone. Our parents always treated her care like a burden they couldn't wait to get rid of. Our parents called with this urgent tone that put me on edge. Mom said, "We can't do this anymore. Iris needs full-time care. You need to come home." I was working as a nurse with my own apartment, but the desperation in her voice made it sound like my sister was dying. When I got there, they had this whole pitch ready about using Iris's disability payments to cover everything. Dad looked at me and said, "She needs you more than anyone." And what was I supposed to do? I quit my job the next week. 5 days after I moved in, I walked into the kitchen and saw Mom packing expensive wine and new clothes into a suitcase. Something felt wrong when I asked, "Where are you going?" She barely glanced at me and said, "Weekend trip. You'll be fine here." They left Friday and came back Monday with tans and shopping bags from stores I couldn't afford. Then they started leaving every weekend. I started noticing other things that made me feel like I was losing my mind. Iris's wheelchair cushion was torn and leaving red marks on her skin. I asked, "Can we get her a new one?" Dad didn't look up from his phone and said, "We can't afford that right now. Money's really tight." That same week, Mom posted photos from a resort in Cabo with champagne and designer sunglasses. I was eating plain rice for the third night because my grocery money was gone. When Iris needed feeding formula, Mom rolled her eyes like I'd asked for something ridiculous. She told me, "Just use your own money. We can't buy every little thing." My sister's survival was an inconvenience to her. I'd already spent hundreds on her medical supplies and groceries, watching my savings disappear. Every time I checked my bank account, the number got smaller and the knot in my stomach got tighter. 3 weeks ago, I was searching for Iris's insurance card to refill her medication. I tore through every drawer, every folder, getting more frantic with each empty space. I finally went to their office and started going through the filing cabinet. A bank statement was sitting right on top of the desk. Social Security Administration, deposit, $3,200. My hands froze on the paper. This was their personal checking account. I opened the cabinet and pulled out more statements. 6 months worth. The same deposit every single month. My brain calculated the total, almost $20,000. I heard footsteps and every muscle in my body locked up. Mom walked in and her expression shifted to furious in an instant. Her voice was sharp and cold. "What do you think you're doing?" The papers were crinkling in my grip, but my voice stayed steady when I asked where Iris's money was. I watched her face change in real time. First, her eyes went wide with shock. Then this flicker of panic crossed her features. Then a cold mask slid into place like shutters closing. She snapped, "Those are private. Put them back." Heat flooded through my chest. I said, "You've been keeping every penny while claiming you couldn't afford a wheelchair cushion." She told me that money paid for the house, everything keeping a roof over my head. The entitlement in her voice made my jaw clench. Dad appeared in the doorway and I showed them her vacation photo, the one with cocktails and designer sunglasses. Mom's face flushed bright red and she started to say something, but I cut her off. My voice was completely steady now. I said, "I'm calling someone who can actually help Iris." I dialed the lawyer right there while they stood frozen, watching me. When I hung up, Mom's voice dropped to something quiet and threatening. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." I looked at both of them and felt nothing but disgust. I said, "No, you made the mistake." The lawyer told me to report everything to Adult Protective Services. I moved out with Iris that same week. Yesterday morning, I made her favorite strawberry milkshake in our new apartment, and she made that happy humming sound. My parents were arrested last night and are facing 5 years in prison for financial exploitation.